This show is brought to you by Safety FM.
Respect on my name, that's Mando. Gang pull up and it's old babe camo, whipping that truck like Lambo. I set the tempo, baby just shake like Tambo. Back in the day, used to want a bad little ting like Misa Campo. Whoa, whoa, you don't wanna play with them. I cook 5 in the V1M, just touched down to the 212, I'm lit. I'm off the hen, already on 10, only want 10s and M's. Cross me once, I don't make amends. Chances, slim, some losses, more wins. Give me that, aim for the head, catch that crown on the top spot. Give me that, gang pull up, loud and clear in the ziplock. Give me that, just like my whip, she top off in a drop top. And say that the world is yours, I'ma need that and a whole lot. Give me that, aim for the head, catch that crown on the top spot. Give me that, gang pull up, loud and clear in the ziplock. Give me that, just like my whip, she top off in a drop top.
Program is rated MA-LSV. It contains strong language, sexual situations, and violence. It is intended only for mature audiences.
Finally, show with the balls to call it like it is. Rated R Safety Show on Safety FM.
Countdown to audio torture.
The Rated R Safety Show starts in 3, 2, 1.
Let the eardrum pain begin.
Forget the corporate bullshit. This is the Rated R Safety Show with your host, Dr. It doesn't matter who the host is.
Oh, yes. It does not matter who the host is. What has always mattered is who the listeners are. Anyways, today is Thursday, July the 16th of 2026, and we are broadcasting from the Safety FM studios in Orlando, Florida, and coming across the multiverse known as Safety FM, and then we are hanging out with our friends and colleagues over there.
You're being infiltrated. Radio Big.
Yes, infiltration and Radio Big is kind of the way that we do stuff. We hang out, we do our thing, no doubt about that. Anyways, how's the last, 48 hours or so been for you? Hopefully grandioso, that is for sure. Sorry about the disappearing act yesterday. Kind of melodrama is like how I like to call it. So yeah, a lot of stuff going on inside of the world of the multiverse, no doubt about that. So let's talk about what we do around here. Our show consists of safety in the news and safety. That's just really how it goes about. And we hang out and do our thing. So that's what happens. We bring in some professional broadcasters. They talk about what the hell's going on. I come in to give you a little bit of news stories that I'm able to find on the other side of the quadrant. And then we go into everything else main story-wise and go from there. That's just kind of how we do our thing. And then from that particular point, as we are moving forward into the multiverse, we move and then go, hey, life is grandioso. So if you're good with all of that, that's kind of what the show consists of. If you want to interact with the show, it's simple to do so. All you have to do is go to callinradio.com. That's callinradio.com. Once you get there, audio, video, and text messaging. Audio, video, and text messaging are the options once you get there, and that will put you into our little system. And then once that occurs, voila. Boom. You're here. I get some prompts. I know what to do based on the information you provide. That's it. That's the whole kit and caboodle. That's how we do our thing. So if you're good with all of that, well, that's how we'll get rolling. Some people always ask, why do we do news stories? The reason why we do news stories is because it doesn't make a lot of sense to me just to jump right into safety stuff when you start talking to people. So I try to give you additional information if today is the day.
Today is the day
of you actually talking about some things that are going on and then going, oh, yeah, I might need some other information to prep for them before we do everything. And I always just kind of go, I'm trying to give you additional information. That's why there's so much information as we are talking. Now, I have to tell you this. I was kind of looking around at some things a few days ago. And if you were here on Monday hanging out, taking a look at what the hell was going on. It was a fun time. We talked about some stuff, and we talked about this Oxford professor, Nick Bostrom, and one of the things that we were doing. And oddly enough, which was just straight out of the blue, Nick Bostrom on Tuesday, I think it was Tuesday, was interviewed on the Joe Rogan Experience. I thought it was very weird in regards to just the timeline, because he hadn't been on that show for like 5 or 6 years. So just some weird timing there. Coincidence, as people would say, or what is the other methodology there, or that people like to use? Confirmation bias. That's what I was trying to say. So there you go. Anyways, with that being said, I'm going to bring in my friend from Feature Story News, where we can get the show on the road in regards of what's going on with the news stories, and I can tell you what's happening when nothing's happening. No, that's not what I meant. What's happening in regards of the multiverse. So let's do that.
Here is the news on the Rated R Safety Show.
From Feature Story News in Paris, I'm Ross Cullen. The United States intensified its strikes on Iran on Thursday, hitting targets further north as American forces also fired into a ship accused of trying to break its naval blockade. Iran retaliated with missile and drone fire targeting Bahrain, Jordan and Kuwait. This is the 5th day of renewed hostilities that have strained the preliminary deal between Washington and Tehran to end the war. Iran's top negotiator, Mohammad Bagher Ghalibaf, told state media that Tehran had no reason to abide by the deal if it did not benefit from it. Earlier this week, President Trump threatened to attack bridges and power plants should Iran not return to talks. Jagriti Dave in Washington says the president's decision to abandon the Hormuz toll plan in favor of Gulf investment deals has not eased the broader military confrontation.
This all comes after the president essentially backed off on a threat to impose 20% tolls on the Strait of Hormuz, and he has essentially claimed a right to this waterway, which Iran does the same. When Iran suggested a toll, the US rejected that, and US is continuing to reimpose its blockade of Iranian ports. And all of this really suggested in some sense that the United States is struggling to find an end to the war and is relying on military might in an attempt to put pressure on Iran to bring it back to the negotiating table and make a deal.
The outgoing British Prime Minister Keir Starmer is visiting Ukraine in a show of support on his final overseas trip in office. It comes as the Ukrainian president has ousted the popular defense minister Mikhailo Fedorov, who has overseen an improvement in Ukraine's armed forces positions against Russia and an escalated campaign of strikes and sabotage tactics on the occupied Crimean Peninsula. But tensions have been growing between the defence minister and the military's commander-in-chief, particularly over recruitment, and the president has decided to oust the minister. The High Court in Delhi will hear an emergency petition on Thursday seeking urgent medical intervention for Indian activist Sonam Wangchuk, who's on the 19th day of a hunger strike in the capital. Wangchuk has been fasting at a protest site since late June as part of a youth-led movement demanding the resignation of India's education minister over a string of exam paper leaks. His weight has dropped by nearly 9 kilograms and opposition politicians have urged him to end the fast. Neha Punya reports from New Delhi.
This is part of a wider Gen Z movement that's been led by a online satire movement called the Cockroach Janata Party. They are demanding the resignation of India's education minister over many exam leaks that impacted a major medical exam that students took in the month of May. Now, Sonam Wangchuk is now being monitored round the clock.
With FSN Spotlight, I'm Simon Marks. The UK is set to hold its biggest home defence exercise in decades next year to prepare the country for the possibility of war with Russia and other threats. The war game, Operation Elbiston Shadow, will test the country's response to hybrid attacks that fall short of conventional war. Karen von Hippel, former Director General at the Royal United Services Institute, now heads defence and security consultancy Arden Strategies.
I think over the last decade or so, we've seen a huge increase in hybrid attacks by Russia, in particular. Hybrid meaning it's everything short of something that would cause a war. So we've seen cyber attacks, we've seen assassinations and attempted assassinations, we've seen arson, including on the Prime Minister's home. We've seen cables being dug up. All of these are done on purpose. They're all done to provoke, but they know that they're not quite the same as launching an air missile, which would cause a military response. And we haven't been doing enough to respond. And so I think this exercise is really important because the public just isn't aware enough of the threat. And if they're not aware enough of the threat, they're not going to support increases in defense spending.
That need for a national conversation on defense spending was reportedly articulated by the editors of the country's Strategic Defense Review. Some of them last year privately urged Sir Keir Starmer to do more to engage in a national dialogue over the reasons for expanded defence spending. With FSN Spotlight, I'm Simon Marks.
And now another look at the top stories. The United States intensified its strikes on Iran on Thursday, hitting targets further north as US forces also fired into a ship they accused of trying to break its naval blockade. The outgoing British Prime Minister Keir Starmer is visiting Ukraine in a show of support on his final overseas trip in office. And defending champions Argentina will face Spain in the World Cup final on Sunday after they beat England 2-1 in Atlanta. That's the latest feature story news. This is Ross Cullen in Paris reporting.
Radio Big.
This portion of the show has been sponsored by Private Internet Access, America's #1 virtual private network, or VPN. Even if you use incognito mode, internet service providers is storing your browser data and many times even selling it. But Private Internet Access, or PIA, can help you. PIA encrypts and reroutes your internet traffic through one of its own servers, hiding your data from your internet service provider or network admin. And with servers in over 75 countries, you can get unrestricted access to geo-blocked content from around the world. PIA comes with easy-to-use apps and browsers extension for all devices, a rock-solid privacy policy, open source security, advanced customization settings, and it was just ranked the fastest VPN in the world by PC Magazine. And if you sign up right now with PIA, you can take advantage of a special deal only for Safety FM listeners. Only by using the following link, you can get the digital privacy for less than $2 a month. Yes, you did hear me correctly. Less than $2 a month and an extra 4 months for free. So that means for only $1.98 a month and 83% off, you can get this service for you right now. That's so much more inexpensive than virtually every other VPN on the market. And if you get it right now, you can take PIA's 30-day risk-free challenge. You can try it out for 30 days, see if you like it, and if not, just return it for a full refund. So just go to safetyfm.com/VPN. That's safetyfm.com/VPN to try out the best VPN on the planet completely risk-free. Now remember, safetyfm.com/VPN. Do you have a claim and not sure where to turn? Coastal Claim Consultants are professionally licensed and bonded public insurance adjusters employed exclusively by you, the policyholder, to represent you after sustaining an insured loss. They assist policyholders in all aspects of processing the claim, working closely with the insured to provide the most equitable and timely settlement possible. They will provide you with comprehensive service, anything from inspecting the loss site, analyzing damages, compiling claim support data, reviewing applicable coverages, assessing replacement costs of damages, and negotiating your settlement. The adjusters at Coastal Claim Consultants will evaluate your claim for no upfront cost whatsoever. Coastal Claim Consultants' fee is based on contingency contracts and are paid when the insurance company sends you a check and it's in your possession. Coastal Claim Consultants are licensed to assist you in the following states: Florida, Texas, Oklahoma, Georgia, and South Carolina. For more information, go to coastal-cc.com. That's coastal-cc.com. For more information, lighting the way to recovery. Coastal Claim Consultants.
This isn't a safety manual. It's a transmission. Jay Allen, PhD, host of the Rated R Safety Show and founder of Safety FM, has spent years pulling back the curtain on the systems we work in and the ones we don't talk about. What started as a fatal crash on the 405 became a search for truth. Through behavior-based safety, human and organizational performance, simulation theory, and everything in between. Safety, in my opinion, is raw, reflective, and real. From burnout to breakthroughs, from the matrix to the moment someone says, "This doesn't feel right." This book doesn't give you answers. It hands you the signal. Safety, in my opinion. Available now, wherever books and audiobooks are found.
Our station is so big that you don't have to do much to make it work for you. Radio Big. Another pitfall of our society. Rated R Safety Show.
Okay, so let's go ahead and get into it, and let's start talking about some things that are going on here inside of the world of the multiverse. So that's kind of what we do around here. So a lot of stuff going on within the last, several hours that you just heard the people talking about from Feature Story News. So let's get into this one real quick. A video making the rounds online claimed that Chuck Schumer may have accidentally passed gas during a speech on the Senate floor while criticizing President Trump's handling of Iran, discussing the National Defense Authorization Act. A loud noise can be heard interrupting Schumer's remarks. The senator briefly appears to suppress a smile before continuing his speech without acknowledging the sound. The clip has gone viral with social media, with users debating whether the noise came from Schumer or from another source of the Senate chamber. No official comments have been made regarding this incident. Take a listen.
And we need a complete investigation that's independent. Now on Iran and the NDAA. When all the Trump administration...
Oh, yeah, there's a chuckle for sure. I mean, I guess those things happen by accident. I mean, or maybe on purpose. Who knows? So there you go. What do you think? I mean, I don't know if this is news story worthy, but it's definitely worthy of something in regards to talking about it. Yeah, I guess the suppression was not as much suppression as one originally thought. So there you go. Okay, so let's continue talking about some things going on inside of the world of the multi, because, man, what an interesting time. And by the way, nice commentary coming inside of the box over there. But we'll leave it as is, because that's just kind of what we do around here. Okay, so a lot of stuff as I'm looking here. There's so many news stories to offload as we are talking that I'm kind of surprised. But take a listen to this real quick, because I got one of those odd stories that I want to go into real quick before we go into anything else. A few weeks ago, we had a main story here that we were talking about a license plate that someone I know had received. And I guess just the weirdness here in
WTF, welcome to Florida.
On things that are going on, a 76-year-old Florida woman got an unexpected surprise when her new license plate arrived bearing a combination that said SQZ, and then it said A55. So let's do that again. SQZ A55. Many interpreted it as a suggestive phase, but Nancy Dellostrito said that was stunned that her plate could accidentally had made it through the state's approval process. The unusual tag quickly became a source of amusement in her retirement community. Although her first reaction was to request a replacement, the family members and friends convinced her to keep it. She now says that she accepted the humorous plate and even jokes that it might earn her extra honks from passing drivers. Officials in Broward County said that the drivers who received a license plate they consider offensive can exchange it at no cost. So just for those taking notes at home, it sounds potentially as squeeze ass. Yeah, squeeze ass is what people are saying, that it could potentially take a little gander almost like when you're taking a look at it. So there you go. Well, maybe I should combine taking a look at it and that at the same time. Okay, so let's continue talking. President Trump has reversed a Homeland Security directive that temporarily passed certain ICE vehicle stops targeting undocumented immigrants after fatal shooting involving immigrant agents in Maine and Texas. The pause has been ordered by Homeland Security and McClellan, who instructed agents to immediately suspend non-urgent vehicle stops while the incident were reviewed. The decision followed by Maine's Senator Susan Collins, and protests erupted over the shooting. Trump rejected the move, saying that ICE officers need the authority to conduct the vehicle stop, arguing that limiting enforcement would benefit criminals. In a True Social post, he praised ICE agents and said that agency should continue carrying out its mission. The two shootings that prompted the review involved men who were not primary targets. In the immigration operations in both cases, Homeland Security said that the drivers attempted to strike officers with their vehicles, although officials have not publicly released evidence supporting those claims. Neither incidents involved agents wearing body cameras. So there you go. A lot of stuff going on inside of the multi as we are talking. So there you go. What else we got? Oh, you heard about this, right? The Yellowstone incident that happened a few days ago. Yellowstone National Park officials say they will not euthanize the bull bison that violently tossed the 65-year-old Carl Islam McDaniel, about 8 feet into the air during a frightening attack at the Bridge Bay campground near Yellowstone Lake. McDaniel, who was visiting the park with his 13-year-old grandson, suffered broken femur in 4 places and underwent surgery. Despite his injuries, he reported that he was recovering well and was able to stand the day after the operation. McDaniel said that he believes the bison could have killed him, but chose not to continue to the attack after he was on the ground. He expressed gratitude and that the encounter wasn't even more serious. Park officials said that no management action will be taken against the wild animal, allowing it to remain in Yellowstone. Now, here's the interesting part, because, of course, I had to look more into it. Supposedly, they tell you when you go into those parks to stay 75 yards away from the bison. 75 yards, not 75 feet, 75 yards. Which is kind of crazy in regards to distance, but I get it. I mean, if you haven't seen the video, you should probably look it up. I was amazed on how quick that thing was able to move around and do its little jump in regards to getting everything over. So that's for sure. So take a listen to this real quick, because this one's coming in hot. Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth has announced a new military health initiative requiring annual testosterone screening for active duty service members aged 30 and older. Hegseth dubbed it the High-T Department of War, saying the program is designed to improve troops' readiness, long-term health, and combat effectiveness, and not artificially enhanced performance. Officials say that the move is aimed to be part of identifying operator syndrome, a collection of health issues often seen in special operation forces and long-serving combat veterans. Troops found to have a low testosterone can choose to undergo testosterone replacement therapy. Through treatment will remain voluntary. Let's see. The initiative is part of Hegseth's broader push to raise physical fitness standards across the armed forces. The military says it's about readiness, and suddenly every guy over 30 is scheduling leg day. Forget Simplify. It's now Semper High-T. And the Pentagon is checking on more than your blood pressure these days, it seems like. And it's the first military physical where your hormones get to performance review as well. The Army says that this isn't steroid program, but if it's okay, buddy, it's the okay, buddy program. I will tell you, I'm kind of intrigued that this is going on. And somewhere protein powder companies just enlisted, and recruiting slogans, be all you can be, and and we'll check your T levels. It should say be all you can be, and we'll check your low T levels. So that's kind of the way that it should go, because that's what they're hoping for, I would imagine, in regards of taking a look at it. And the phrase suddenly drop and give me 20 suddenly sounds like it's going to be medically supervised.
Duh.
So there you go. A lot of stuff going on there. What a weird time. I mean, and I'm not saying that, taking testosterone replacement therapy, which is referred to as TRT, is a bad thing or a good thing. But it's an interesting thing when the military starts throwing it down in regards of what's going on. So there you go. A lot of stuff to talk about inside of the multiverse. Okay, so the U.S. House has approved the Common Sense Act, a bill that would end production of the penny and require cash purchases to be rounded to the nearest nickel. The legislation now moves into the Senate consideration on the proposed cash totals ending 1, 2, 6, or 7 cents would be rounded, while the totals ending in 3, 4, 8, and 9 would be rounded up. The other ones are rounded down. Prices ending in 0 and 5 would remain unchanged. The surrounding rule would apply only to cash transaction. Electronic payments like credit cards and digital wallets would still be charged the exact amount. Pennies already in circulation would remain legal tender, so they could still be used. Supporters include a National Restaurant Association and say that the nationwide standards would protect business and they won't have pennies available to make the exchange. The bill also calls for the Department of less expensive nickel, provided it remains compatible with vending machine and other coin-operated equipment. So there you go. A lot of stuff going on right there as we are talking. It gets interesting. That is for sure. Okay, take a listen to this one. President Trump has endorsed Mike Lindell and the Minnesota Republican race for governor, calling MyPillow founder a great patriot and praising him for his support on election integrity. And the endorsement came in Truth Social post weeks just before the August 11 Republican primary, as Lindell said that he was surprised by the endorsement and believes that it will give him the campaign the significant boost. Mike Lindell faces a competitive Republican field, though. This includes Kendall Qualls, Lisa DeMue, and quite a few other candidates. The governor's race is open because Tim Walz is not seeking another term. On the Democratic side, Amy Klobuchar is a front runner. A June poll showed that Amy is the leading Lindell by 53% to 36% in a hypothetical general election matchup. While Lindell enjoys high name recognition, the survey also found that more than half of voters who know him view him as unfavorable. Here's the thing that I'm going to mention. I look at this and go, think about how popular the MyPillow guy was at one particular point. And I'm not saying he's not popular now, but those ads used to be all over the place. And I don't mean like all over the place like you're all over the place. I'm talking more about all over the place as it's all over the place type of thing. So there you go. It's just a very interesting time as we are talking. Okay, so take a listen to this. 2 men were critically injured after gunfire erupted inside of a Kroger grocery store in Cypress, Texas, just outside of Houston. Authorities said the suspected shooter has been detained and receiving medical treatment at a local hospital. One victim was found outside of the store with a gunshot wound, while another was discovered inside with multiple gunshot wounds. Both were airlifted to the hospitals in critical conditions. Investigators believe that the shooting may have stemmed from a domestic dispute, and early reports indicate that the suspect and victims knew each other. Officials say that no bystanders were injured. Charges are expected once the investigation is complete, and Kroger has closed the store and providing counseling services for all of its employees. So there you go. Man, what an interesting time. And I'm telling you, Kroger's is doing the right thing in regards of bringing people into for the assistance. I get that for sure. But it's interesting as we are taking a look at it, because you have to make sure you're taking care of the people. But you know what it is that they're taking the approach of that we're just going to close everything down, which I'm not saying it's a good approach. I'm not saying it's a bad approach until they're able to figure out what exactly is going on. That is for sure. So there you go. So you know how I tell you all the time that we need to talk about some things here that get kind of interesting? Things that you should be able to share with your colleagues and all that kind of fun stuff. Well, take a listen to this. You got a sunburn? Try this. Saturate a washcloth with 1 cup of cold green tea and gently press it onto the sunburn areas. The chill pulls the heat away from the skin and provides a temporary numbing effect, while the brewing antioxidants repair the damage and reduce swelling. So there you go. And then I got some bad news here to share with you, just in case. Too much coffee can increase the risk of dementia. A new study found that drinking 6 or more cups of coffee a day was linked to a 53% increase in risk of dementia and make stroke more likely too. Brain imaging reveals that drinking a lot of coffee was also associated with brain shrinkage. The study conducted at the Australian Centre of Precision Health and South Australian Health and Medical Research Institute is the largest of its kind based on 17,702 participants aged 30 to 37. Kitty Fram, a PhD candidate at the University of South Australia, who led the team, international researchers, says that the finding draws attention to the risk over consuming. So, what do you think there? And don't tell me you know people that you already believe that this is true with, because that's going to be a weird one. So, there you go. It is a very, very, very interesting time as we are talking. So take a listen to this. A new survey of 2,000 parents found that raising kids in a smartphone era is costing moms and dads a lot of sleep. On average, parents say that they have lost about 7 hours of sleep each week, the equivalent of 48 nights a year, largely because they are worried about their children's digital lives. The biggest concerns are the excessive screen time, social media impact on self-esteem, gaming, app addiction, and overall online safety. Researchers say that growing stress has a name of Techxiety. The anxiety that parents feel trying to balance the benefits of technology with its risk. Despite the fears, 90% of parents still want their children to have access to a phone at school, although most say that it should be limited to emergencies. Parents whose schools ban phones report that feeling anxious about not being able to reach their kids several times a day. 48 sleepless nights, basically parenting with insomnia is what it sounds like. So there you go. What do you think about this? Is this a good idea, bad idea, indifferent idea? Because it always kind of makes something very interesting when it's all said and done. I don't know. I look at it, the phone thing is a blessing and a curse. And here's the question that I ask, because I always find it interesting. At what age do you think is the right age to potentially give your kid a phone? I mean, that is kind of the question of questions. So there you go. Take a listen to this. I'm going to give you this one, then we'll get into our main story. A teenager in Oregon turned a $3.07 Goodwill purchase into what could be a $250,000 payday after discovering that he had unknowingly bought a rare game shirt worn, or jersey, better saying, worn by Wilt Chamberlain, Los Angeles Lakers warm-up jacket. 19-year-old Quinn Brown found the jacket at a Goodwill outlet near Portland after another shopper tossed it back into the clothing line. Suspecting that it might be authentic, he researched old photos and found that the stitching appeared in the match images of Chamberlain wearing the jacket in 1972-1973 season. Experts say that later authenticated the jacket with Salisbury photo matching it, that it could multiple photographs from the 1972-1973 NBA season, including images believed to have been seen and taken during the 1972 NBA Finals. The jacket is now being auctioned by Salisbury in New York. Although the bidding had reached $20,000, experts believe that the final price could be closer to $150,000 and $250,000 because of the rarity of the historical significance. It's especially valuable because it comes in Chamberlain's final NBA season, making one of the limited number of authentic items from his legendary career. So there you go. Let's think about that for a moment. Imagine you land in that one. That's going to be one of those things that you're like, oh, life has just changed for me. Anyways, with that being said, let's go ahead and get into our main story right now.
Here is our main story on the Rated R Safety Show.
So let's start talking right away about some things that are going on inside of the world of the multiverse, because these are the things to talk about. And I have to tell you about something. I have to tell you that I always find it interesting being able to interact with organizations and take a look around on what is going on, because it is amazing the trickery sometimes that some orgs try to pull off. And what do I mean by that? You are aware that as we are doing things inside of organizations, you're kind of gathering information. You're gathering these nuances that occur systematically that are going on. And you go, okay, let's take a look at this, take a look at that. And I want you to think about this for a moment. I want you to think that you're at an organization that might potentially have a union. Maybe it doesn't. I don't know. But let's kind of look at it from both angles. Let's say that you are in a workplace that the union has had the conversations with the org that they do not agree with a change that the organization is trying to do. They have discussions behind closed doors. It is agreed upon that the changes that the organization wanted to do are not going to proceed. And it's agreed upon. You start moving forward, doing these other things. And then all of a sudden, they give you level 1 of how the changes are going in. They start happening. And then all of these other pieces that they told you were not going to come in are all of a sudden going into the system that they said that would never be there. Even though it was discussed behind closed doors that it wouldn't happen, but they are attempting to implement them anyways. And I'm talking about the organization. Now, has this happened to you? And if you're in a union environment, did the union have to step back in and handle it? And if you are inside of an organization without a union, what was the high level of pushback? Because here's the weird part. It kind of gets interesting from time to time when you start having these discussions and you say, okay, we can't do it this way, and this will not work, and this is the level of the pushback. The company agrees that they're not going to do it, and then boom, they come back 3 months later, 2 months later, a month later, and say, no, we have to do it that way. It's just weird. It is a weird time altogether. So I don't know. How would you handle this within your organization? Do you have these discussions? Do you have these discussions where it does make sense in moving forward? Because at the end of the day, remember, we're trying to do a few different things here. We are trying to make sure that the people have a nice little safeguard around them in regards of the work that's being done. But also at the same time, too, when you're looking at this and going through the whole thing, the amount of weird pressure that comes into this organization, that comes into the employees. Now, I want you to think about this real quick, because this is not something that we address directly sometimes, but think about the amount of pressure that comes your way. Think about the amount of pressure that happens when things are questionable for you. Because here's the weird part. When you don't agree with something that's going on with your organization, it's almost like you're risking shelter and food. Think about that for a moment. If you're in one of these scenarios that you're close to living paycheck to paycheck, you are debating what you are risking. Think about that for a moment. You are debating what you are risking. You are turning around and saying, I am willing to do this and stand up and do what you are considering the right thing, but you are indeed risking food and shelter. Isn't that a weird scenario? And then sometimes we sit back, because keep in mind, people don't talk about their finances for the most part, and that's okay. Nobody's saying that you should. Nobody's saying you shouldn't. Then if something is not going the way that you want and your neighbor, your team member, is not agreeing with you, you're questioning, like, why don't they see it the way that I see it? But we don't know what game they're playing with their finances. And this is the weird aspect about life in regards of a work environment. So the question becomes this: what are you willing to risk to prove a point? Because if it was agreed upon, especially if you have a union in place, that these things were not going to move forward, and keep in mind that you're giving a part of your salary to the union, normally. And they had agreed with the organization, and now the organization flipped. Now it becomes weird. And if you don't have that, how do you, meaning the union, how do you normally have those discussions? A lot of people go through HR. And human resources, or as is referred to in the trilogy, human remains, they're there, HR that is, to assist the company. So it becomes a whole weird thing on how these things are handled. So how does your organization handle it? Would love to know more. I'm always intrigued on what's going on.
Oops! What did he just say?
We at Safety FM don't always agree with the viewpoints of our hosts and guests.
Now back to real safety talk on Safety FM.
Don't go anywhere.
You're listening to the home of real safety talk.
You're listening to Safety FM. We'll be right back.
What if everything we thought we knew about safety was just interference? From the host of the Rated R Safety Show and the founder of Safety FM comes the complete signal transmission trilogy, now available in one powerful edition. Safety, in my opinion, the book that started the conversation. Safety Mutation, where the boundaries of culture, systems, and belief begin to break. And now, Safety Transmission, the final piece of the signal. For the first time, all three books are together in one volume. The Signal Transmission Trilogy, Complete Edition. This isn't just about compliance. It's about consciousness. It's about decoding the way we think, lead, and live, inside and outside the system. Whether you've been following the signal since the beginning or you're just now tuning in, this is the version to own. Search Signal Trilogy on Amazon or visit safetyfm.com to get your copy now.
Let's start using cutting-edge warp speed 5G technology with your cell phone. Let me tell you about my friends at mobilemobile.io. They have an ultra-fast 4G LTE and 5G network that covers 99% of Americans. So they've got you covered everywhere. Think about it for a moment. You have the opportunity to take a test drive for 10 days with unlimited talk, text, and premium data. What is premium data? Premium data is an allotment of a cellular data that you receive from a higher priority on the network. You won't get throttled like you will with some of those, non-brand service providers. To find out more information, all you have to do is go to mobilemobile.io. That's mobilemobile.io to start your 10-day free trial.
Is your safety training old, stale, and hacked? Is your safety trainer still preaching a warped version of behavior-based safety? How about safety training that actually addresses your hazards in your workplaces and is not standardized baloney from 25 years ago? Contact the Safety Wars team at safetywars.com or call Jim Posel at 845-269-5772. Remember, if you're receiving this message, you are the solution to unsafe workplaces.
This portion of the show has been sponsored by Private Internet Access, America's #1 virtual private network, or VPN. Even if you use incognito mode, internet service providers is storing your browser data and many times even selling it. But Private Internet Access, or PIA, can help you. PIA encrypts and reroutes your internet traffic through one of its own servers, hiding your data from your internet service provider or network admin. And with servers in over 75 countries, you can get unrestricted access to geo-blocked content from around the world. PIA comes with easy-to-use apps and browsers extension for all devices, a rock-solid privacy policy, open source security, advanced customization settings, and it was just ranked the fastest VPN in the world by PC Magazine. And if you sign up right now with PIA, you can take advantage of a special deal only for Safety FM listeners. Only by using the following link, you can get the digital privacy for less than $2 a month. Yes, you did hear me correctly. Less than $2 a month and an extra 4 months for free. So that means for only $1.98 a month and 83% off, you can get this service for you right now. That's so much more inexpensive than virtually every other VPN on the market. And if you get it right now, you can take PIA's 30-day risk-free challenge. You can try it out for 30 days, see if you like it, and if not, just return it for a full refund. So just go to safetyfm.com/VPN. That's safetyfm.com/VPN to try out the best VPN on the planet completely risk-free. Now remember, safetyfm.com/VPN.
If you think local radio sucks, wait till you hear our free-form station, Radio Big.
Chances, slim, some losses, more wins. Give me that, aim for the head, catch that crown on the top spot. Give me that, gang pull up, loud and clear in the ziplock. Give me that, just like my whip, she top off in a drop top. They say that the world is yours, I'ma need that and a whole lot. Give me that, aim for the head, catch that crown on the top spot. Give me that, gang pull up, loud and clear in the ziplock. Give me that, just like my whip, she top off in a drop top.
Okay, here we go. 45 minutes past the top of the hour. We are still hanging out here on the Rated R Safety Show. So let's start talking. This right here is Sangarang. Song's name is Tempo. Not a joke as I'm saying that. Song's readily available on Apple Music, YouTube Music, Spotify, and Pandora. So there you go. A lot of good times there as we are hanging. Yep. There you go. Yeah, we would like to thank Sangarang for allowing us to play this here on the Rated R Safety Show. Woo, what a good time. Anyways, let's get back into it. Let's start talking. Let's start moving. Let's start grooving. Let me tell you about the most important thing that I will ever tell you in my lifetime, and that's about my friends at To Write Love on Our Arms. No matter what you're facing, you deserve to be connected to help, and we want you to know that people have been where you are now, and things can get better. Healing is possible. Find out more information. All you have to do is go to TWLOHA.com. That's TWLOHA.com and click on the section that says Find Help. Once you get there, you're going to see information related to addiction, depression, anxiety, eating disorders, self-injury, suicide, trauma, and grief support, just to name a few. That's TWLOHA.com. To Write Love on Her Arms. So there you go. Once you get there, I'm going to tell you it's going to change everything for you. It really what does. You can take a look around at the website. There's so many different things, as we have spoken about before on there, because there are just so many interactive things. Like if you take a look right now, just events that they're going to be showing up at. They're going to be going to Mansfield, Ohio, the 17th through the 19th. So starting tomorrow at Incarceration. And then that is in Mansfield, Ohio. And then the 24th, To Write Love on Her Arms are having a watch party in Long Beach, California. 25th through the 26th, also in Long Beach, California. They'll be at the Vans Warped Tour. And I mean, that's just some of the stuff that's going on. So there you go. If you're in Orlando, and I guess in November, 6th, 7th, and 8th, they'll be at the EDC Orlando 2026. So there you go. Some things to think about there, that's for sure. Okay, so with that being said, let's continue talking about some other things that are going on inside of the multiverse. Some people would be expecting for us to tell you about the next event that we have scheduled, because that's normally what we spend our time doing. So I'm going to tell you a little inside baseball thing. Little inside baseball information. The event that we normally would be doing in September, in October, it looks like we're going to probably be having to push it to the beginning of next year. And the reason I'm telling you this right now is because I just don't want there to be expectations that we're going to be doing something in September or October. And a lot of it has to do with two things. It's about the timing of the event and what would normally happen. So at this particular point, I'm going to probably say it's going to be Q1 of 27. So there you go. Some things to think about. Not trying to be Debbie Downer here. That's for sure. Because some people will be like, oh, well, why didn't you tell us before? Well, I'm telling you because I just found out. I mean, I'll put it to you this way. When we ended our stuff on Monday at Reality Shift, we were having the discussion because we had been talking about it for some time about what we would be doing for the next conference that would be taking place in Santa Fe. And due to what's going on, it looks like we'll be doing Q1. So just wanted to share that with you. Okay, so with that being said, let's go ahead and do this. Let's go ahead and bring in some John Small into our life and let him tell us about what's going on with the Motivation Minute.
The Motivation Minute.
Courtesy of Jay'sCaseMedical.com. Today's quote was submitted by Kevin. Pat Sumitic said, "It's harder to stay on top than it is to make the climb. Continue to seek new goals." Wow, this takes me back to 2005. I was newly hired as a sales manager for a radio group. The team had not hit a goal in a long time. I made some adjustments and we started hitting goals. Something I noticed though, if we had a really good week, it was usually followed by a not so good week. I found this pattern interesting, so I looked into it. We were celebrating our big wins by letting some things slide. My boss at the time called it resting on our laurels, which I thought was a funny phrase, but it absolutely was happening. We would do really well. Then internally, we kind of thought, we're good. We don't really need to try so hard. Then things would slow down and we'd have to hustle again to get back on top. The good news is, once you see that happening, you can avoid it.
The Motivation Minute.
This has been the Motivation Minute. I'm John Small. Thanks for listening. Your favorite motivational quotes can be submitted for upcoming programs at motivationminute.org.
Here is the news on the Rated R Safety Show.
The Justice Department has reached a settlement with a major pharmaceutical company over its role in the opioid crisis, securing more than $1 billion for addiction treatment programs.
The agreement resolves allegations that the company failed to report suspicious orders of prescription painkillers, and funds will be distributed to state and local governments over the next decade. Kevin Sanders reporting.
The Federal Reserve has signaled that it is prepared to cut interest rates later this year if inflation continues to show sustained improvement.
Chairman Jerome Powell told a Senate committee that recent economic data has boosted confidence that price pressures are moderating, though he stressed the central bank would remain data dependent. Jessica Oakley reporting.
U.S. Central Command launched a new wave of strikes against Iranian military targets early Wednesday morning local time.
The 90-minute operation focused on coastal defense systems and missile storage sites on Greater Tunb Island, aiming to further degrade Tehran's ability to attack commercial shipping in the strategic Strait of Hormuz. Chris Anderson reporting.
The United States and Iraq have signaled a new era of cooperation following a White House meeting between President Trump and Iraqi Prime Minister Ali al-Zaidi.
Both leaders discussed expanding American energy investments in Iraq and reaffirmed Washington's security commitment to Baghdad, with the Prime Minister pledging that only state forces would hold weapons. Lawrence Keller reporting.
A massive wildfire burning north of Los Angeles has forced more than 2,000 residents to evacuate their homes as crews struggle to contain the fast-moving blaze.
The fire, which has consumed over 6,000 acres, is being driven by strong Santa Ana winds and dry conditions, with authorities warning that containment may take several more days. Kyle Norris reporting.
European Union foreign ministers have agreed to a new package of sanctions targeting Russia's shadow fleet of aging tankers used to circumvent existing oil price caps.
The measures, set to take effect later this week, will ban EU companies from providing insurance or technical services to vessels suspected of transporting Russian crude above the agreed price ceiling. Gary Beck reporting.
Russian forces are regrouping for a renewed offensive in Ukraine's eastern Donetsk region following a series of tactical setbacks over the past week.
Ukrainian military intelligence reports that Russian commanders are transferring reserve units to the front lines after several battalions suffered heavy casualties in failed assaults on fortified positions near the town of Avdiivka. Benjamin Wright reporting.
And that's the latest news headlines with Alan Edwards.
Pop quiz, hotshot. During a heat wave, what's more important, air conditioning or air guitar? Is it air conditioning? Air guitar. The answer is always air guitar.
Oh, yes, it's always air guitar. I agree with you. There you go. So let's start talking right away about some things that occurred back on this day. Back in 1439, yes, 1439, kissing is banned in England. Did you hear me? Kissing was banned in England back then. So there you go. Also in 1790, Congress establishes the District of Columbia. In 1935, the automatic parking meter in the U.S. is installed in Oklahoma City, Oklahoma. In 1936, the first X-ray photo artificial circulation happens in Rochester, New York. In 1945, the first atomic bomb is detonated in Trinity Site in New Mexico. In 1969, Apollo 11 carries the first man to land on the moon launch. In 1980, Ronald Reagan is nominated for the Republican president in Detroit. In 1988, Michael J. Fox marries Tracy Pollan. In 1990, Rick Dees' Into the Night premieres on ABC TV. And in 2004, Martha Stewart was sentenced to 5 months in prison and 5 months of house arrest about her stock sale. So there you go. Those are the things that are happened based on the dates that I'm telling you. So there you go. Okay, so let's talk about some birthdays that are going on today. Stuart Copeland turned 74. Phoebe Cates turned 63. Will Ferrell turns 59. Barry Sanders, 58. And Corey Feldman turns 55 today. So there you go. Some things that you might have not known in regards to the birthdays. Let's talk about some things that you got to know. The conflict between the United States and Iran has intensified as President Trump continues military operations aimed at limiting Iran's control over the strategically important Strait of Hormuz, a key global shipping route, according to the U.S. Central Command. Americans forced to resume strikes earlier yesterday morning after carrying several-hour wave of attacks overnight against dozens of Iranian military targets near the strait. The stated objective was to reduce Iran's ability to threaten commercial shipping and maritime traffic in the region. The report says the U.S. has also resumed a naval blockade of Iranian ports, signaling and escalating the pressure of Tehran as the standoff continues with no immediate resolution sight. So there you go. Also, President Trump's likeness will appear on a new $1 gold coin as part of the nation's 250th anniversary celebration. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent announced the U.S. Mint will produce a commemorative coin to mark America's 250th anniversary, calling it a tribute to the enduring legacy of liberty and a symbol of patriotism. The announcement is drawing attention because the U.S. tradition has generally avoided placing living presidents or living people on the national currency, making the move unusual. So there you go. Also, in some other news, a day at Disneyland is getting more expensive than ever. A new home-to-go analyst has ranked California's attraction at least the affordability theme park, or at least affordable theme park, factoring the admission price, parking fees, and the cost of nearby hotels. According to the study, a typical visit now averages about $331 a person, making Disneyland the priciest theme park experience in the country. So there you go. A lot of stuff there. Anyways, that's going to sum up our time together at the top of the hour. I will be going over to radiobig.fm because that's what I do over there for the next couple hours or so, talking about the world of music and entertainment. If you do not want to go over there, you can stay right here with the likes of Sheldon Primus as he is talking about the world of safety consulting. If I can leave you with some words of wisdom for today, opportunities are usually disguised as hard work, so work with people that don't recognize them. So there you go. And if you need some advice for today, freeze watermelon cubes for natural sweet icy treats that beats popsicles. So there you go. Something to think about. Anyways, I know who you are.
Duh.
You know who I am. Love you, mean it, and goodbye.
The views and opinions expressed during this broadcast, podcast, or radio show are solely those of the host and guests and do not necessarily reflect the official policy or position of Safety FM and or Radio Big. The content discussed, including examples of analysis, is provided for illustrative purposes only. It should not be applied as the sole solution in real-world scenarios. as it is based on limited and dated open source information. Any assumptions made during this broadcast, podcast, or radio show are not reflective of Safety FM and or Radio Big. No portion of this broadcast, podcast, or radio show may be reproduced, stored in a retrieval system, or transmitted in any form or by any means, electronic, mechanical, recording, or otherwise, without prior written permission of Safety FM and or Radio Big. For permission requests, please contact Safety FM or Radio Big directly.
Give me that, just like my whip, she top off and a drop top. They say that the world is yours, I'ma need that and a whole lot.